Is Mike Bleyker. I am chair of the ambassador group. I'm the owner of Safeguard New Mexico, and this is another ambassador spotlight today. Today we have the honor of interviewing Pepper.Poole from KRQE-FOX 13. And so how are you today, Pepper?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing good. So let's get started. I'm not that familiar with KRQE, so why don't you enlighten us about what KRQE is and how businesses in New Mexico could benefit from working with you and KRQE.
So KRQE and Fox New Mexico, which is Channel 13, it's the CBS affiliate here in Albuquerque. And Fox New Mexico is obviously the Fox affiliate here in Albuquerque. We have two stations here, and that's it's Channel 13, and then Fox, I think on some channels is 2, and other channels it's 13.2. They're both over-the-air television stations, digital antennas. We're under an umbrella called Nexstar Media Group, and Nexstar Media is a nationwide company that has 197 television stations and about, I can't even tell you, I don't know how many digital companies that we have underneath of that umbrella as well. So combined with data aggregating everything to where we actually own our own data. We work with Experian and stuff and other companies to aggregate data that is specific targeting measures. So if you wanted to target a person who just bought a Chevrolet and they just bought a house and they live in 87124 zip code and they're 55 and older, then we can specifically target those people.
Wow.
Yeah, it can be really granular. And sometimes that's really good. Now, Fox New Mexico and KRQE are big powerhouse. Channel 13 is probably the #1 television station, and I know everybody says that, but we have the proof to back it up. In New Mexico, Fox is probably in the top 4, and I think they're probably #4. So we've got a really big television audience. We go from having, we cover the entire market of New Mexico. We have a satellite for KRQE in Farmington, which reaches all the way into Durango, and then we have a satellite down in Roswell that reaches the whole southeastern area, Carlsbad, all that particular area, and that's and those are nice because if you have a business up in Farmington, you can just buy that particular satellite if you just want to reach those people up there. But we're both on Dish and Network and DirecTV and Comcast, so if you come here, you get to get all over the place anyways. So
I see it on my cable channel lineup.
Yeah, and it's a I think a KRQE brand is incredibly important to the people around here at this station. We make sure that it's protected in every which way, shape, and form that we can. So we're also very precise about some of the news programs that news that goes out there. So that's part of protecting the brand as well. So
one of the things when I joined back in last year, they said to me, "Oh, you should talk to Pepper.Poole about what you could do through the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber." Can you expound on that?
Sure. So what we do is we offer a discounted rate for anybody who belongs to the chamber to be able to do a segment on New Mexico Living. And New Mexico Living is a show that's had lots of accolades. We're the only locally produced show, and it highlights New Mexico businesses, activities, things like that are happening in New Mexico, in and around Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Las Cruces. It airs on Fox New Mexico. It is a live show, and it airs Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then it also, what we do is we have 2 other stations here that are, they're smaller, And so we go ahead and take that New Mexico Living and we simulcast it on one of those other stations as well. So it then airs on that station at 10 to 11. So it's not just one station, but two stations that it airs on. And so that's an offer through the chamber that people are allowed to, it's a pretty big discount because normally, I sell them for more than that. So
I was going to say that. And that's always been one of my questions for a small business person. They look at, commercials on TV and they go, oh, I can't afford that or whatever. What would be your retort back saying, oh, no, actually, this would be a good idea for you to do that?
Right. Well, so one of the things, and we hear that a lot, and we do, one of the things that we do offer, we've created different programs that include either Fox New Mexico and KRQE or just Fox New Mexico. And we've kind of made this program very exclusive to small local businesses. So, we don't offer it to large, to our agencies that buy, television. They buy they buy specific spots. We made it a very affordable program. And then what happens is on these programs is that they're also they get to partake in what's called unsold inventory, kind of like a hotel. If it's vacant for the night, that's lost revenue. So what we do is we take these particular people in those programs and the local businesses to add more value to it, to just give you as many spots as we possibly can and put it into the unsold inventory. So you have to be part of that program in order to partake in that. However, plus we get to the New Mexico Living, we put it in a package that really helps. And we also take care of the creative side too. So it's not a daunting task. We go from start to finish. We're going to make sure that you meet with the creative team, they get your message, what you want to talk about. They'll do the shoot, they'll edit, put it all together, and it's your spot to air on our TV stations. Now, if you want to go someplace else, you'd have to, you'd either have to purchase it or you would have to. Yeah, just because it's a year commitment. We say a commitment, on those kinds of programs, but we do a lot of different things for small businesses. But it's not nearly as expensive as people would think. We've got people doing stuff on Fox New Mexico a week on, a week off, a week on, and you don't really notice the difference unless you're maybe, say, I don't know, a pizza company who needs to remind people all the time to buy pizza, but you can own, one of the ways too is to own a specific time period. So you could say, well, I want to be in the early morning news on KRQE every day, and we could create a rotator that goes in that, and so there's possible ways to be very affordable. Now you can't do it for, I will say that you shouldn't do it for less than $500 a month, because then there's no return value for you at all. You want frequency and you want people to hear your name. There's a lot of clutter out there, and it's important for you to break through that clutter with your message and with one frequency, because as many eyeballs see it, that's where you're going to be reaching all those people.
So there's a minimal commitment from the small business saying you should at least expect to pay X per month to actually get past that clutter. And then that kind of gives the small business owner an idea of, in their marketing budget, how much they can afford to go and do this versus anything else that they might be contemplating at this time.
Right. So, it's important to understand that there are things that with television, it's the biggest bullhorn. People talk about word of mouth all the time. Well, this is the biggest bullhorn you can use to be a word of mouth. We've got testimonials after testimonials of people who've been in business for 50 years who just started doing television, and we're like, people come in and say, I've never knew you existed. They're like, well, we've been here for a long time. How could you not know? But it's important to have a message and to say something, because there is so much clutter. So, we've got people always talk about, we've got another part of what we can do is we've got a lot of people talk about cutting the cord, you know, they're going to do streaming TV or streaming this. Well, we've got that too. So we've got everything under the sun of digital that you can imagine to have an opportunity for somebody to get their message out.
So how did you get involved with the chamber?
You know, I live in Rio Rancho. I was on the Keep Rio Rancho Beautiful board for a few years, and I had met Jerry, I don't know, a long time ago, or we were at some function, and I decided that with KRQE, I wanted to have, there was no presence there. We were not part of it. And so I asked the powers that be over here if we could join, and they said yes. And so I've tried to stay involved as much as possible because first of all, Rio Rancho is where I grew up. I graduated, well, Rio Rancho High School wasn't there when I was in school. So I graduated from Cibola High School. You know, my roots in Rio Rancho are deep. So I definitely have been there for a long time. My kids went to the Ask Academy. You know, they went to Eagle Ridge Gymnastics. So I have a strong sense of making sure Rio Rancho is a great community. And I believe that's the business.
And that's a perfect segue to ask you why you got involved in the ambassador group.
Well, that, you know, I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say if it wasn't somewhat self-serving, but it was nice to be able to meet people and welcome new businesses and just offer resources and information. We have a lot of things under our umbrella here at the KRQE. We have a research department. We have, I mean, I've got so many tools in my toolbox. It's open, and some of it's free. And so if there's a question, I don't want that hindrance for any business in Rio Rancho because everybody focuses on Albuquerque all the time. And so it's important to highlight Rio Rancho as well. You know, we want to bring revenue out to Rio Rancho. I know people will travel if they like somebody for something. They will travel 20 miles. You know, we just did a research study that just showed that for a vein doctor, and they were talking about, well, how do I need to just market to my zip code and the people around me? And I'm like, well, if you do that, then you're missing out on all these people that we just figured out will actually drive 20 miles to 30 miles to come see you if they trust you. So
that's true.
There's a lot of ways to try to bring that revenue out to Rio Rancho.
Well, thank you for speaking with me today and enlightening me on yourself, KRQE, and again, your relationship with the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you at an event real soon.